I do not know, Chad.
That sounds like you could do that. Like you're like in a morning show or something. You got to be like, hello, and traffic today is backed up.
Just a smidge.
Take us to the traffic report, Shannon.
Well, I-10, you're screwed. 610, you're screwed.
Just get settled in there and listen to Wacky Shannon and the Chad.
Wacky Shannon and the Chad.
You have like some weird...
Why do I feel like I'm missing this in my life?
I don't know what music. And we're coming back to classical music on your morning show drive. Here's Beethoven. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to the Next Day podcast or the new morning driving show.
The next day on your discipleship journey.
I'm Chad.
I'm Christy.
And we're joined by
Shannon.
Woo!
Yay! Shannon Stevenson. Mm-hmm. Have you been on the podcast before?
I think a long time ago. I think I read something maybe for you at one point.
Yeah, you did. You did some reading, scripture reading for the This Day podcast.
Okay.
And so this is the Next Day podcast where we are going to be talking about the sermons you got to hear in worship on Sunday. So maybe you're in the element, you get to hear Christy, traditional with Chrissy's trying to do something on her computer and she just made a very angry face when I introduced her. And I was like, what did I do wrong?
Oh, it's just my computer. Sorry, continue. Traditional with
Preston. And Carl over at the West Campus, where they celebrated their 5th birthday for the building being there. But I think I learned that the West Campus has been around since 12 years, I believe.
Something like that.
Something like that. When they were meeting at different schools, and they were meeting at a high school for a long time, and then they got this building 5 years ago. So they were celebrating their birthday yesterday. So that was really fun. But we're going to be talking about those sermons. And Shannon, we're so glad you're here. Shannon, what do you do here? Like, I really don't know. I see you around. We're now office mates.
Well, I don't really know what you do.
I don't know what purpose I serve. No, I am with Special Needs Ministry. I'm the coordinator for that right now. And so we have our Friday Night Friends respite program for ages 3 to 21 for parents to have a date night, and siblings can come too. And then we also have our H2O program, which is for Wednesdays. It's an adult program, another respite program, and then Sunday school and Courage Worship Service. That's where you can usually find me.
All right. Well, all things special needs is Shannon, and you've been here at the church for a while, but we're so glad you're in this position now. And and like I said, we're office mates because we're sharing the same area for offices, and it's because of you I had to get into gear and clean up. The life of student ministry is like you just kind of finish an event, you just put stuff somewhere, and you're like, I'll take care of that next week, and then it just never comes, and then it just,
Well, thank God we both have Marie with us, the nurse who helps me. She's very organized, and so I think she kind of keeps both of us put together. Yeah. So that's helpful.
Well, we're so glad that you're here, and if this doesn't work out for you, you could always go into DJ and be a morning show DJ and do traffic reports.
I mean, who knew?
And give people hope.
Yes, hope that you will make it through this or not.
Yeah.
Get comfy.
You know, I've heard traffic reports before where they just go, this is up in Dallas as a show, and they're just like, and if you're on I-30, just forget about it.
Yeah, go home.
And they just end it with that. And I was like, well, that's not helpful. Like, it's just, you're not going anywhere. All right, well, let's get to our icebreaker question. And so this is the Houston Rodeo is happening right now. I don't know if y'all have plans on going or not. It's not something we just go to all. I've been maybe 3 times, I think. But they just recently had the big barbecue cookout.
Right.
So my question to y'all is, what is your go-to when you go to a barbecue place? Like, what is the thing that you're looking for, and like you're like, oh, I hope they have a good this, because that's what I want, because it's just a barbecue place. So what is y'all's go-to thing for barbecue?
I'm a big ribs girl. Like,
okay.
And so, but I'm very partial to the Salt Lick outside of Austin.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
getting the
I haven't
ribs
been there in so long.
So good though.
Hey, that's our sponsor, the Salt Lick. When you need good barbecue, go to the Salt Lick.
Speaking of Salt Lick, I went to Tractor Supply this weekend, and I didn't know because I was buying some stuff. Got my garden together, y'all, and I'm very excited.
Did you put out some milkweed?
You're inspired.
I haven't planted. I've just got my garden like prepared to plant. So I was inspired by Sea Wow. It was just time. But anyway, I didn't realize that at Tractor Supply they sell like Himalayan sea salt, but on a rope for like the cow's salt lick. You know, they do like a little. But I was like, oh, that looks like kind of nice. Like I would like to have a salt lick. Is that weird? Just come back and like,
do you
I
also
hang it in my office?
Or something possibly.
Do you also want a feed bag? You just put it around your head and you're just.
Actually, that sounds kind of nice. Full of barbecue.
Yeah, are they not concerned about cows' sodium intake with giving that salt lick?
I don't know.
They must need it on a health thing or something. I
guess.
Maybe.
Yeah, so ribs for Shannon. So just face covered in barbecue sauce.
Yeah, like the complete mess.
But like beef ribs, what kind of ribs? Or pork ribs?
Pork ribs.
Yeah.
Chicken ribs. I
like
like
so that would be disturbing.
Yeah, I feel like I'm also a pork ribs kind of person. Mostly, but
really okay.
Yeah, I mean, I love burnt ends, like brisket burnt ends. But like if I'm choosing another like classic barbecue thing that is not white meat or like a poultry, I will choose pork ribs. But I also am partial to smoked turkey.
Yes.
Ooh, okay. Turkey ribs and all that?
Turkey ribs, yep.
Yeah, very nice. Let's see. First thing, the thing I look forward the most is the sides. If it's a barbecue place that doesn't have good sides, then I'm kind of over it. I don't care how good the meat is, but they have good cream corn and pinto beans and stuff.
Peach cobbler or something you're in.
No, not so much.
No,
dessert. No,
okay.
no. But the sides. But I guess in terms of the main dish and the meat, I guess if they have good catfish, barbecue places will often have good catfish. But otherwise, it's brisket. Like I'll just go for the brisket because I feel like that's something I can tell a lot about different places how good their brisket is.
I'd agree with that.
So yeah, and sausage. But all sausages. Like I don't know if I've ever been to a place and they did bad sausage. I'm sure someone could point it out to me, but
maybe if you like overcooked it. But
yeah,
I mean, for the most part, sausage is kind of already put together for you.
Yes, yeah, it's hard to mess it up.
Yeah,
I like ribs, but I don't think I ever just so quick to order them. Like unless there's like a special deal and it's like all you can eat ribs or something, then I might try that out. But anyways, all right, well. Hopefully we made y'all hungry by now.
Yeah, Chad, and you're not going to feed us.
I feel like we've talked about food a lot. Like it seems like all we talk about. But no, let's talk about the sermons from this past Sunday. This is the first sermon in our sermon series. It's our Lenten sermon series. Now, you may be looking at your calendar going, wait, well, this is the second Sunday in Lent. Well, we did Sea Wow, and we didn't really do a sermon during that. So we were serving, which was really cool. Shannon was out in my project over at Brookwood.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, so this series is called In the Pressing. In the Pressing. It was formerly known as In the Garden because it takes place.
No one knew it like that. No one knew it as In the Garden. That was internal. We changed it internally before anyone.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, but it's interesting in how we changed it. And I see. It's interesting because it was in the garden because this Lenten series, it's only one passage in the Bible, and it's in Matthew chapter 26 is whenever Jesus is in the Garden of
Gethsemane.
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 Go. I know she was really struggling with that earlier, and I struggled with it too before. We were doing a reading. I was at a different church, and we were doing, I think it was a Good Friday, and we were having to all do different readings, and my part of the reading had to say that, and I just could not get it. And even when I was trying to just say it to myself, Sable, my wife, would like overhear me, and she'll just go, "Oh Lord, you're not going to do this." Like, she had no belief in me that if I was up in front of people, she'd say, "Oh no." But then when I finally went up there, I had to really slow it down and go, and there he was in the Garden of Gethsemane, and then I moved forward. But yeah, so Chrissy, what does Gethsemane, what does it mean? And that's what helped us change the name of the sermon series.
Yeah, so we know that Gethsemane means the oil press or oil press. It's a place or a tool that's used where the olives are taken from the groves wherever they had been harvested and then taken to be like washed and all of that, and then put into this ancient oil press that would grind the olives into a paste and then like just press the oil out of it, and that's how you would get olive oil, which they used in their everyday life. So once we learned that little factoid, when we kind of like made that connection, we were like, oh wow, like that is really beautiful to connect this like idea of like crushing and pressing and being in this like, you know, place where something is being poured out of you that maybe is like not a comfortable process, and connecting that with Lent and with what Jesus is experiencing in the Garden of Gethsemane at the time. And that is like very much in the most pressing time of his life. But we know that, you know, as we move on from the garden, like things are going to get harder and darker until we see like, oh, this was all for the refining and, you know, purifying of humanity. This process that had to happen, that nobody else could have done. Right. So anyway, that really changed the game on putting all this together, because we had talked about this sermon series being in the garden and just talking about all of these concepts. But then, you know, kind of later on, this kind of happens a lot, that we like make plans and then, you know, God is like, oh, that was it's like, not that it wasn't like a good plan. And sometimes sometimes totally, you know, things get totally, uprooted. But a lot of times we'll make these plans and then God like blesses the plans with something like this, where we're like, oh, wow, like that's even more like intentional than we even thought.
It's either things like that, which turn out to be good, but then there's other times where we plan out ahead and we look at it and then we go, where did that come from? This doesn't make any sense. Who came up with it? Well, you don't know. And it's like somehow we have a whole sermon series planned out, but somehow none of us know, well, this doesn't make any sense. Why do we do this?
Why did we do this?
Yeah, and then
which is like 90% of the time.
Yeah, well, let's just scrap it and let's do something else or something like that.
It's like the great improv moment, I guess.
It truly is. Truly is.
But yeah, so that is interesting about in the pressing, and so that is where they would make olive oil. Which I have a question: how come I only see extra virgin olive oil?
The EVOO.
How come I never see just
olive oil?
Virgin olive oil?
I think they have.
Do they have it? It's always extra. If I go to the store, it's like extra. I'm like, I just want the non-extra.
I think they have some varieties, but I believe for like the refinement of like, it's better to be the extra, I guess.
It's always better.
Is there an extra?
I'm not too sure, friend.
But can I get a 2-time extra? I want
the extra.
Yeah.
Extra. Read all about it.
Okay. All right.
This is really going.
Yeah, this is
going downhill fast.
So yeah, here I do that. Make that come out of people.
But in this garden of the pressing of the olive press, the Gethsemane, which is weird that they just call it, hey, let's go to the olive press. But I guess that's just what they called it, right? So Gethsemane. So they went there, and this is where Jesus went with his disciples. This is where he will eventually be arrested. And so, but before that, Jesus is having this time of prayer, and there's different things in this passage that we wanted to look at of just kind of, here's Jesus in these kind of final moments, and what is he doing? What is he saying and all this? And so this one, what we talked about this week was, come sit with me. Mm-hmm. He's inviting the disciples, hey, come pray with me, come sit with me, come be with me.
Right.
And so we just talked all about what that meant. And I love how, Chrissy, you said how this part of the scripture is kind of the beginning of this very sad end. Now, I know we know that's not the end.
The end is going to be, yeah.
But it is like leading up to this very sad, tragic part of the story. And here's the kind of the beginning of it. They're going out to this garden, and this is the beginning of it. Mm-hmm. And we start to see in this section, and you or tell us, like, what was Jesus feeling during this time? Because they just did the Last Supper, and it seems like, yes, he knows someone's going to betray him. Yeah. But he's known about this thing. He's been telling them for a while, I'm not going to be with you for long.
Right.
And don't worry, 3 days I will rise. Like, he's been saying all this, but now here he is. How is he feeling?
Right. I mean, I feel like this is one of those verses in scripture. And I mentioned this on Sunday, that like, this is a relatable Jesus. This is like when reality becomes real. It's like, he's known this. He said it. We have like scripture proof that he has said this over and over again, throughout their time together with the disciples, that, he knew this was coming, and it's like all of a sudden it's real. And so he says to the disciples, like, and really he doesn't say to all the disciples, like, he's broken away from the 12 and he's with like 3 of his closest disciples at this point. It's
Is
like
it Judas. Did he invite him?
No, Judas is going to be, he's in the act of betrayal right now.
Did he invite Thaddeus?
I don't think so.
James the Lesser? Did he invite these other people?
No,
he played his favorites.
Yeah, Peter, James, and John, the sons of Zebedee, specifically.
The Thunder Brothers.
The brothers. But they, it's like the 3 that are closest to him. So he's like really, trailing off, but he's not wanting to. It's like when you need to be alone, but you're like, I don't really want to be like all the way alone, I need someone there.
Your inner onion people.
Yes, your inner onion people. Yeah.
What is that? Your inner onion?
Well,
it's got layers.
In Shrek, and like he's like, I'm on the inner onion. The donkey says that to him. I don't know. That's how I always describe
I say
friends.
inner parfait people, because everybody loves parfaits.
I don't think I've ever noticed that the donkey says that.
Yeah,
that he says
that, like, it's something, I don't know. I'd have to find the line directly, but this is how I explain friendship to my girls. Like, I'm like, you have sweet. You can be kind to everyone, but you have the inner onion, and so Jesus took his inner onion.
Those are the ones that usually make you cry.
Possibly, yes.
But sit with you when you cry.
To cry with them.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
That's
Okay.
the
There
way
you go.
Look at it.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, like, I mean, he's with this small group of people, but he says to them, like, in the most vulnerable, maybe the most vulnerable moment we see of Jesus up to this point with his disciples, or just at all, right? Aside from like him being a baby, it's just very vulnerable. But he's like, I am grieved in my soul, like in my spirit, to the point of death. And he's like, just come and sit
God
with
in the
me.
flesh saying that. That's so moving. Or
It
that's
is.
so interesting.
It is. And I sort of think about this, like, I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever had like, something that was really devastating in your life, something that was just really just like you were grieving. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's hard to say you're putting yourself on the level of like what Jesus was feeling, because like none of us have ever walked through what Jesus has walked through. But like we know suffering, like we've known suffering in our life.
When they take away the fish sandwiches after Lent,
I
mean, truly,
my soul is grieving.
It's just the hardest thing. I know. So I mean, we know this. we know this kind of suffering to some capacity. But I think of it as like the times when you are so devastated and you are just grieving so deeply that like every single inhale like hurts, like it's just painful to like just take another breath almost. And then when you like let it go and you breathe out, you're like, am I just going to fall apart right now?
Oh my gosh.
Like, is this my last breath? It just feels that intense. Like that's the level we're talking. Like it almost makes me like want to cry thinking about it. Cause it's like you put yourself into that place and you're like, oh yeah, like we've been there.
I just thought of something that will make you cry. The time I felt that.
Because I will.
I know.
Yeah, I'm teary-eyed thinking about it, right? Yeah. Because it's like, because we've known that kind of suffering, and that's the place that Jesus is at right now. Like just this immense feeling of grief and anxiety and like knowing that all of this is coming. And so it's like in this moment, he calls these disciples, like, don't leave. I need to pray. Like Jesus knows, like he is one with the Father. And we're going to continue on in this series. Like he is having a conversation with the Father about all that he's feeling and experiencing. And like in this like same vulnerable kind of way, he's going to God in prayer like that. But he's like, stay close by me. Like it's just interesting, like to, God in the flesh, the humanity of Jesus to still be like, I need that companionship. Like I need these people to be with me at this time of this great distress. And so like, I mean, that's the headspace that we're in.
Yeah. And so, yeah. And there's just something about that, even like there's that part, but then there's also just he is being there with them at the same time and they're together. And yeah, but even that, like, is still difficult. But there's something that does say something about community. It does say something about how we're there to comfort one another. Because even Jesus would say, like earlier in Matthew, for those who mourn, comfort those who mourn.
Right.
And so yeah, so he's very well aware of that. And I think it's in John whenever we see Jesus weeps, and that's where he is filled with emotion.
And that's like the first time that you see Jesus kind of like, you're like, oh, like when and it's just like Jesus wept over Lazarus, right? And it's like, oh, that's
a human emotion.
And that story isn't present, in Matthew. So it's like we're seeing like a different, side of that coin. But in Matthew's gospel, like this is probably one of the first moments where Jesus is like really vulnerable, aside from like the like righteous anger that you see, just like that, the grief. Mm-hmm.
And so then Krista, you went all nerd on us, and you were talking about.
I did go nerd,
but
not like theological nerd.
I so badly wanted to just stand up and just like sarcastically argue with you, because whenever you were saying, our solar system, and we had to do this project, and we did Neptune, and it's the farthest planet in our. So I was like, no, Pluto. I was taught Pluto was a planet, and I continue to think Pluto.
I really missed a good opportunity for like a millennial joke there, because we were all taught about Pluto, and then it's like, hey guys, Pluto's actually not. We're not going to talk about Pluto anymore.
Yeah. So just take it away.
And whenever they just now, like, because I had the conversation with my niece about that, and I was playfully arguing, but when she just dismisses it, going, it's a dwarf planet. I'm like, what's that second word? It's a planet. So you better recognize it's Pluto. Anyway, because I grew up like interested in space, and I used to think like this is like me in elementary school and like maybe early junior high. I was completely into like astronomy. I love reading books. I knew a lot of fun facts about the solar system. In fact, I remember one time I even corrected my 5th grade teacher on one thing. And it wasn't
getting saucy.
And I wasn't saying it to be mean. I was because she was talking about the order of the planets. I was like, "Oh, miss, did you know?" That, and I was just sharing, and she goes, "No, Chad, that's not correct." I'm like, "No, it is, because I read about it in this book." And she's like, "No, it's not. Be quiet." So I just never talked ever again.
And you could
class.
have been like, a NASA employee or an astronomer or something, and she just crushed your spirit.
I mean, my paper was out of this world. It was amazing.
Oh.
Okay.
You couldn't help
He can't help himself. He really can't.
And then whenever you said, the universe is so many millions years old. I'm like, no, it's only a couple thousand years old.
Billions. I said billion.
Billions.
13.8 billion.
It's only a couple thousand because if you do the math in the Bible, it shows that it's only, okay, I won't get there. But anyways.
Don't dig into
I
that
won't
one right
get
now.
there.
The fact, honestly, let me just say, the people who are arguing about like the Earth's age, okay, like whatever, that's fine. I'll give you whatever you want on
okay,
this.
the Earth
But
age.
the universe, we
universe.
haven't even gotten to the end of it, y'all. Like we don't even know how far it
no
goes.
idea.
So like, no, I'm not going to let you say that it's not a certain amount years old or whatever because you have no idea. We've never even seen it.
Yeah,
we can't know.
And then the pictures you show. So you bring up all this talk about how big the solar system is, but then going beyond other galaxies and then going beyond just the universe. And you showed all these pictures. Some of them were actually more recent ones. And I can't remember if it was exactly the Hubble, but some of them, they were, because they reached, it's like some of these photos, I forgot what it's called, like one of these other satellites that's gone way further out than anything else is before. But you showed some of those pictures because it reminds me of the carpet on in like skate rinks or arcades.
yes, like that, like 80s, like
it looks
like
like
with the
that.
neon. I know exactly what you're
But
talking about.
it looks
The
like
black
Lisa
light.
Frank or something,
Yes,
like
it's
it looks so. It looks like AI. If I saw that, I would think first that it was AI. Knowing AI now, I would be like, show me a picture of like. Some like fantastical picture, paint me something of like a galaxy or whatever. Right. And I would think it was not a real photo, but like they're real. Mm-hmm. And like the shocking thing is that some of these where it's like, the glowing dots and in the picture, all of them are galaxies.
Yeah.
Like there's few stars that you can see there.
And then galaxy is made up of like millions of stars in itself.
And
so it's
and
just, and you kind of look at, so we see our star, the sun, and that's like the closest one to us. So when we see all the other ones, it's like, I don't know, it just really, you feel tiny.
You feel
so tiny,
so small. I mean, so small. And it's like, I just think like I said, I don't think about the universe often. Like it's one, there's like a phobia of like things that are huge, like magnitude, like. I don't know. It's like if you
black holes or something.
Yeah, if you could see like planets, like big planets in the sky,
yeah.
like, and I don't remember what it's called, but it's like some kind of phobia. If it's like just this like enormous,
I think that's the same one as
phobia. I don't know.
Maybe that's it.
It's the same name. It's the same name as no one knows the name of it because just like no one knows the name of the phobia of fear of small little holes, right?
Trypophobia. Thank you very much. You know what it is.
She has that.
It's if it's too small or too big.
We talked about
a collection
fears.
of tiny things.
We talked about fears, and this actually goes along with what Carl's was. It was just one day the universe is just going to stop.
Oh no, he said he said the impending heat death of the universe. And I was like, gee, Carl.
And the energy just got taken out when he brought that up.
Megalophobia.
Oh, I could have guessed that.
I was kind of close.
An intense, irrational fear of large objects such as skyscrapers, statues, airplanes, or large animals.
Fair.
Now, I don't feel like it's like mine. I would feel like this about like
if Saturn was right in front of you.
Yes,
okay.
Like if how you've seen that's an AI photo, where you just like see a city and it's like as if we could see the planets like right there.
Yeah.
And it scares me. It's just like I wouldn't be able to walk outside. It would just be like that's terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And the thought that like something that enormous like Jupiter is like out there, it's just like. I don't know. It really boggles my mind. It's like the ocean, If I think about the fact that I might be like floating,
we're ants,
yes.
basically. We are tiny.
And you said Emmy like did on Neptune, right?
Yes.
And so did y'all learn about the blue spot, the great
dark
blue spot?
Yeah. Yes.
So
that's about the dark spot.
So that's a storm that's always going on there, just like on Jupiter has the big red spot. It's just a constant like hurricane that's just always happening. And even, I know this is true for the red spot, but I'm pretty sure it's true for even Neptune. Like, there's a couple of Earths can fit inside that spot, inside that storm. Shows you how big these are gas planets.
Now, Neptune is actually an ice planet.
Ice planet?
It is.
Okay.
It has some of the same components of a gas planet, but it also has water, ammonia, and methane. And
I'm just upset that she didn't do the second third, like largest. What's the one next to it?
For Uranus.
All right, Chad. She specifically was like, I didn't do Uranus. She was like, I did Neptune, which is a wonderful planet. It's a beautiful shade of blue.
Which one, Neptune?
Neptune.
Okay.
But yeah, eighth planet in the solar system. But that, like,
not the farthest.
Hearing that, I mean, this was a real moment, like, that we had. It was like, we asked Alexa. I was struggling with this sermon, and I told Emmy, that I was like, thank you for this project. Like, this opened up where I wanted to go with the sermon, because I knew I had this, and I'm like, where am I going to go with this? And then we ask Alexa, hey, Alexa, how far is Neptune? And she's like 4.5 billion kilometers away from the Earth.
Kilometers? We're American.
I know.
Put that in miles.
And it just, like, I was like, wow. Like, I don't know. I let that just settle in for a minute. Like, just the magnitude of it. You're just like, I can't even fathom how far that is. And then, like, how far would it take to get there? 12 to 15 years.
Yeah. Just going in a straight line. You just have to.
It's insane. Yeah. I mean, it is insane to me. And then, like, as I continued to research, the universe and put all of this together, it's just like, it's just mind-blowing. It's truly mind-blowing. But I told Emmy, thank you for this. I was like, I know where I'm going with my sermon. So she was very excited to hear it.
And so in your sermon, like, this all led up to you just talking about how great the universe is, which the whole time I was thinking, the universe declares your majesty. You are holy. I was hoping
I
was hoping Blake would just go up there and just the universe declares your Neptune declares your majesty.
Jupiter and Mars and Saturn.
Not so much Venus.
That's the extended. We're not going to talk about Uranus.
It reminds me of teaching preschool. We'd have these songs they had, like, with the planets and everything. Like, yeah, they were cute. I'll have to play you one.
Nice. But you're bringing all up that saying Jesus was carrying all of this on. The weight of the universe was on his shoulders, is on his back, and he knew he was going to have to die for all of this. The amount of sin, the amount of everything else, he knew he was going to have to take this all on, and that just added to that amount of worry, of fear, and everything he was feeling. It was just like, he was just, oh my gosh, like, this is going to have to happen.
Yeah.
And so you kind of really brought it home. Like, you're talking about all that and just imagining all of this just put on Jesus. And I even drew, I like to draw little things. And so I did draw, like, as if, stick figure Jesus, or someone has this big old bag on his back, and I put some stars, and I tried to do a galaxy, but it looks more like an octopus or like a squid or something. But then not only is this person carrying this big old bag on their back of the universe, I have, like, a smaller person handing them another bag. Like, he's willing to take on more.
Yeah.
And
that's a good image.
And so it's all for us. And so, but yeah, that's what that whole, like, you could just, this first sermon in this series is just kind of really setting the stage of just, Jesus was scared. He was worried. He's moving forward anyway in this, because that shows just how much he loves us. And so much so that he says, hey, come sit with me. Mm-hmm. Come be with me in this time. I'm here for you. I want you there for me. And it's just this beautiful image of in the garden or in the pressing. Yeah. So really nice.
And I love the, like, the concept of, like, all that is out there, and, we have our own little worlds. We walk around with our own little worlds all the time, that feels as if it has nothing to do with all of that big stuff out there. Although, like, there's a full moon tomorrow, and I'm like, I'm feeling it, y'all. I'm feeling it.
I'm sure the teachers are too, because the kids are going to go crazy in school.
Yeah, I mean, like, I know that all of that kind of, we are all connected in that, like, beautiful, mysterious kind of way. But we walk around with our own, like, inner worlds, and how so often, like, for me, that is too much sometimes. My own little inner world, like, with all of my responsibilities and, you know, my kids have stuff going on. And then like, you know, God forbid I have a day where like, you know, the insecurities rise up or like anger takes a hold of me or, you know, like something else, like an unresolved issue is just like kind of surfacing and, you know, trying to balance all of the things in life. And then like, oh, there's like rush hour traffic that I have to get through or whatever, you know,
Shannon
a doctor's
didn't
appointment.
help you with her traffic report.
didn't give me traffic
The
report.
I didn't have it.
You
That's
didn't
the
listen
problem.
to her.
Yeah, I just need Shannon to like navigate me through that.
I really hope someone's listening to this while they're sitting in traffic going,
it's really relatable. Yeah. You know, but it's like all of those things. And sometimes I'm like, even just that, like, it feels like it's too much, you know, to carry. And then it's like you go through a time of grief, you know, you lose someone you love or you lose a job or a relationship or, you know, something. And it's like, how am I going to manage? How am I going to carry all of this? And it's like in those moments, I think, you know, you come back to this story in the garden and like you have this invitation of like Jesus, you know, like you're saying, has this big bag and then like someone's handing him another bag. Like that's the invitation is like, come and bring your other little bag of all the things that you're carrying and just bring it here and sit and rest at my feet and recharge. You know, like that's this like this invitation that we have. And then granted, like the Garden of Gethsemane, like we're going to continue on in the story and see like how the disciples are responding. You know, but I think as we begin this journey in Lent, and we've begun last week, but as we begin through like this sermon series, I said on Sunday that like we started out serving and, you know, it was like a really high point of like, we're going to go out and serve. We're going to be the hands and feet of Christ. And like, Lent is like all about almsgiving, you know, it's all about like helping the poor and all of that kind of stuff. So like, you know, we were doing a very Lenten practice, but you know, like I said on Sunday, we can't learn to become like Jesus until we learn to actually just be with Jesus. And I think this is the invitation here is like, just learn to be with Jesus, like be with all of your world and all of that world out there. Just be with Jesus first, you know, start there, recharge, find your refuge, find your strength. And then you go out and continue to do these things, but that's your home base. You know?
I'm kind of tying it back to your like planets idea of like, you know, how like what we carry, like we're all in our own little orbits.
Yes. Oh, so much.
And then like Jesus is like kind of the sun of it. Like he's
yes.
the center of all of the
Yes.
things, you know, of like, you know, all the planets. And so like each one of us may be a little planet or a star or a black hole or what the hey. But like, you know, like
definitely a black hole.
But that, you know, he's holding all of that.
Yes.
So.
Oh, and I think it's so fascinating too that like we have these little images like this all throughout creation of what our life of faith is like or what the kingdom of God is like, you know, just like parables. And I mean, they didn't know things, you know, as many things about planets and things like that. But, you know, if I were going to write a parable today, knowing what we know about planets, it's like, you know, it's very much God ordered things in such a way and designed creation in such a way that we have this like center point of the sun, you know, and like all the things orbiting around it and like in such perfect harmony and in such a way that like it is perfectly protected. I've heard like if the earth was literally any closer to the sun than it is, like it would burst into flames.
Yeah,
Right.
No, it'd be too hot, and if we were a little further away, it would be too cold. Like it really is like in this perfect little area of it.
Right, and it's just the like intentionality of that. There's so much there. Like that's a parable right there.
Yeah.
Like just in the way that the planets are ordered, is really beautiful.
Yeah, and then I know I've heard some fun fact. Like I think we know more. We've discovered more in our solar system than we have the depths of the oceans.
Yes, I've heard that too.
Now maybe not the universe because the universe is definitely way bigger than you. But like in terms of that, but it just kind of makes you again feeling small and all that. But like, yeah, I really love like as we move forward in this sermon series and just kind of seeing because Jesus is going to talk about a couple of other things. You're going to see the disciples falling asleep, and you're going to eventually hear Jesus say some other things too. And so, but this one is this reminder of just be still, be with me, come sit with me. One of my favorite Psalms is from Psalm 46. It's like, and it's the line of the verse, be still and know I am God.
We talked about that on Sunday.
Yeah. And I always love that one. Is that right? 46? Here I am saying
46,
favorite.
10.
Here I am
Yes.
saying favorite. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Wait a minute,
right?
is this the one? I know, I feel like I do that all the time.
But, 46, and then like whenever it says "Be still and know I am God," and I always encourage people that's a good one to do I call a subtraction prayer or meditation.
Oh yes, I
and
love
so
this.
and I wasn't gonna say this until you mentioned this earlier, but it's like you could say just be prayerful and reflective, and you can say "Be still, know I am God." Take a couple of deep breaths, then go "Be still and know I am." Be still and know, be still, and then finally just be. And you could just be prayer, and then you could build yourself back up or whatever it is. But it is that importance of just be with God.
Yeah, that's good.
Be with Christ. Be with them. And when you're doing that, it shows that you're wanting to follow. You're wanting to just let God, you want Jesus to be the atmosphere you live in. So everything you're doing is living that out. So, so
It's good.
Good sermon, Christy. And if y'all want to listen to Preston's and Carl's, you can listen to that here on the podcast. Just look for those episodes, or you can go to our YouTube channels. But let's go to our ministry shout out. And so you already kind of did this, Shannon. And so, but what other special needs ministries, or is there one in particular you just want to give a big shout out to?
We have our special needs summer camp coming up this summer.
Yeah.
So July 21st through the 23rd. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in the mornings. And we're always looking for more volunteers or participants too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
think
it's
there's-
up for registration. So.
And this is like, it's different from VBS, what we understand VBS to be, because it's adults and children, right? Like
Yes.
this is just all
It's
ages
all
of special
ages
needs.
and stages. Yeah.
So it's like, we need a lot of volunteers to make that
Yes.
happen.
We have one-on-one buddies for every single participant,
Yeah.
and siblings also, or there's a separate registration for them, but we do have some openings for that too.
And I love seeing that not only the people coming there as campers and being a part of that, but also just all the volunteers. We have quite a few students, whether they're a part of our church or just in the community, who come and they just love serving and
Yeah, it's
being
amazing
here for
watching
it.
do that kind of work. Like it's really gives you hope in humanity.
Yeah, so it's such a
Absolutely.
beautiful thing, and so that's always a big fun, and it's
Yep.
always kind of like a good end to a busy, fun summer. Like it's always one of the later things.
I'll be running around like a chicken with its head cut off.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, it is a great ending to the summer. Yes.
I'm just gonna be sitting there
Looking
with
forward to my
popcorn
pool
watching you.
in August.
But thank you, Shannon, for joining
Thank
us today
you.
and sharing all the
Yes.
things about special needs. Just so many wonderful things happening here at the church. And so thank you. And so for everyone else listening, we hope you can join us next week as we continue in the series of In the Pressing, as we make our way towards Holy Week and towards Easter, as we just kind of continue seeing the story of Jesus in the garden with his disciples. So we'll see you all next week on the Next Day podcast.
See you next time.
Bye.